Today we will have a revision for the first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations. Hope you have wrote down the questions which I have WhatsApped you. So let us begin from the first question. Okay. The first question is, identify the oxidizing agent. For a reaction will be given and then you have to identify the oxidizing agent. So before going into that, we will see once again what is oxidation and reduction. Okay. Now what is oxidation? Just a recap on oxidation and reduction. So what is oxidation? You can have in two ways. One is oxidation is addition of oxygen, isn't it? Addition of oxygen, or you will have a removal of hydrogen. So in two ways you can define what oxidation, that is oxidation of, addition of oxygen as well as removal of hydrogen. Okay, for example, addition of oxygen means if you copper plus oxygen will give you what? Copper oxide. So this is oxidation. Correct. Now removal of hydrogen means what? For example, hydrogen sulfide plus oxygen. So in this, hydrogen is getting removed and it forms sulfur plus H2O. So this is an example for removal of hydrogen. So you know that. Okay, now coming to reduction. Now what is reduction? You know what is reduction? Reduction is one in terms of addition of hydrogen, isn't it? Addition of hydrogen, or in terms of oxygen, what you will say? You will say a removal of oxygen, isn't it? So in these two ways you can write reduction, that is addition of hydrogen or removal of oxygen. So if you want an example for addition of hydrogen, we will say sodium plus hydrogen will give you sodium hydride. So this is addition of hydrogen, isn't it? Addition of hydrogen. So this is a reduction. Or removal of oxygen. What I will write? CuO plus H2. So in this, by removing this oxygen, you can say this is reduced. So it will form Cu plus H2O. That means here the copper oxide is reduced to copper. Or if we want only one element like KClO3, potassium chlorate, KClO3, potassium chlorate, on thermal decomposition will form KCl plus O2. See, in this one compound the oxygen is removed. Removal of oxygen means reduction. So in this reduction happens, so KCl plus O2. You got it? Okay. Now we see a redox reaction. Now what is a redox reaction? Redox reaction means both oxidation and reduction takes place simultaneously in a reaction, is called as a redox reaction. Okay, for example, a simple example I will give and then we will come to this. For example, copper oxide plus hydrogen will give you copper plus H2O. Okay. Now in this equation, what is oxidized and what is reduced? Oxidation means addition of oxygen. So H2 is getting converted to H2O. So adding of oxygen. So this is oxidation, isn't it? Now what is reduction? Copper, that is removal of oxygen. That is copper oxide is reduced to copper. So both reduction and oxidation happens in the same reaction, which you call it as a redox reaction. Now coming back to the question, identify the oxidizing agent. We will see in this equation what is oxidizing agent as well as a reducing agent. If a question comes like this, first you have to write what is oxidation and what is reduction. Okay. Now let me tell you how you have to write this oxidation as well as reduction. Some children make mistakes in this. You have to write oxidation as CuO is reduced to, see how I am writing? Cu is reduced to Cu. That is CuO is reduced to Cu. So what is reduced? CuO. Now whatever is reduced, that is oxidizing agent. See, that is a funda. Now whatever is reduced, it is called as oxidizing agent. Now what is oxidized? Oxidized is hydrogen. hydrogen is oxidized. You have to write like this. Okay. Oxidized to what? Oxidized to water. So hydrogen is oxidized to water. Now what will be the reducing agent? Hydrogen will be the reducing agent. Opposite to this. Reduced means its opposite is oxidation, but it is the agent, oxidizing agent. What this means? Oxidizing agent means it helps in oxidation for the other element. Not this. This helps because this is having oxygen. So it is ready to give this oxygen to the other element. Which element? Hydrogen. So this helps in oxidation. That is called as oxidizing agent. You say agent, right? Agent. Somebody will helps. Somebody who helps. So oxidizing agent. So this is oxidizing agent. Why? So the funda is the oxidizing agent itself gets reduced. That is the thing. So first you see which is oxidized and which is reduced. Then whatever is reduced to what? That reduced is oxidizing agent. Whatever is oxidized, that is reducing agent. Hope it is clear for you. Okay. Now we will see this equation. Okay, you have given MnO2 plus 4HCl gives MnCl2 plus Cl2 plus water. See, in this reaction you have studied, this is the textbook reaction. Okay. Now first we have to see oxidation and reduction. As I always told you, in this particular reaction, water is a byproduct. What is a byproduct? The product which is getting along with the main product. That is called as a byproduct. So this you don't consider in this oxidation as well as the reduction. Now see what happens. This MnO2 is changed to MnCl2. That means what? This oxygen is changed to chlorine. That is removal of oxygen. That is reduction. Addition of oxygen is oxidation. Removal of oxygen is reduction. Now what happens to hydrogen chloride to chlorine? That is here hydrogen is removed. So removal of hydrogen is called as oxidation. So first thing you have to find what is oxidized and what is reduced. Then you write, okay, you can make it in one step also. If you are so clear, you can have it by seeing itself, you can have it the oxidizing agent and the reducing agent. But if somebody don't know how to go for it, you go by steps. So first you write the oxidation and reduction. Then you write what? MnO2. See, MnO2 is reduced. See, just follow this. Okay, once you have the hang of this, then you go for a shortcut. So MnO2 is reduced to MnCl2. So it is reduced. Who is reduced to whom? MnO2. So whatever is reduced, that is oxidizing agent. So hope you are clear with this. Okay. Now next is what? HCl is oxidized. See, you have to write like this. Oxidized to chlorine. So what is oxidized? HCl. So HCl will be the reducing agent. Okay, so hope you are clear with this funda or the concept. So this is how you find the oxidizing agent and the reducing agent. As you know, oxidizing agent means an agent will helps in oxidation. That means which can donate or which can give oxygen. That is called as. But at the same time, it itself gets reduced. See, MnO2 is reduced to MnCl2. That means it is reduced at the same time. It helps in reduction. That is, it helps in oxidation. It helps in oxidation means what? It can give this oxygen to somebody else. That is for H. It can give somebody else. Okay. So that is the meaning of oxidizing agent. It can help in oxidation, but itself getting reduced. This gets reduced. Okay. So you are clear with that idea. Okay, the funda. So this is how you go for the oxidizing agent as well as the reducing agent. So hope you are clear with that. Okay. Now going on to the second question. Okay. Now see what is the second question. Hope you have all written in the notebook. Science notebook you have written what I have sent it to you. Okay. So the second question is, see, zinc liberates hydrogen gas. Okay. Zinc liberates hydrogen gas when it's treated with hydrochloric acid. Now if a question comes like this, if zinc, when it is react with hydrochloric acid, it liberates hydrogen gas plus ZnCl2. So if we have a reaction, it is like, the question is, whereas copper does not react with the dilute HCl. So that's a question. So if a question comes like this, zinc, or you know the generic equation what? A metal react with an acid to produce hydrogen and salt. That is a generic equation. So in this case, for zinc, it will liberate hydrogen gas, but in the case of copper, when it is react with hydrochloric acid, it is not liberating, or this reaction does not happen. Why? Now if a question comes like this, you have to see what happens here. The Zn plus HCl will give you ZnCl2. Listen carefully. ZnCl2, which means this hydrogen atom is being replaced by whom? Zinc, or displacement reaction is happening, isn't it? That is, the zinc, the hydrogen is being displaced by whom? Zinc. Or I can say, zinc is being a more reactive metal. The value point is that. The zinc being more reactive than hydrogen. Now if you ask me, how will you find the reactivity? Go for reactivity series, isn't it? So after zinc, Posacama, alzyl, then comes the hydrogen. So anything above this can displace below, or a metal which is above can displace the below metal. So zinc, hydrogen is below zinc. So zinc can displace hydrogen. Okay. So that is why, so it will form ZnCl2 plus H2. But if you say copper and hydrogen, see, copper is where? The hydrogen, then copper, then silver, and then gold, platinum, etc. So where this copper lies? Copper lies below the hydrogen. So this copper, if the copper was above the hydrogen, it can replace, like zinc. But since copper is below the hydrogen in the reactivity series, it cannot replace this hydrogen. So that is the question. So if some question comes, for example, Posacama, see, can calcium replace zinc? Yes, because calcium is above zinc. But Posacama, alzyl, iron, lead. Okay, now if a question asked whether iron can replace zinc, no. Why? Because iron is below the zinc. Zinc can replace iron. So whichever metal is above can replace the below metal. You got the funda? You got the concept? So that is how. So any reaction, if you ask a board exam question as why this is not happening in a displacement reaction, it's a displacement reaction. You see, first go through this reaction, what type of a reaction you find out, and then you go to the reactivity series. So then you will have an answer there. Correct. So this is the answer. That is, copper cannot displace hydrogen because it is below hydrogen. Copper is below hydrogen in the activity series. So it cannot displace. So that is the concept. Clear? The next question is, so hope you are clear with this, right? Now comes the next question. Next question is what? Next question is a simple one. That is, in many board exams it will be asked like this. Like X plus BaCl2. X plus BaCl2, okay, that is aqueous, will give you Y plus sodium chloride. See? If a question comes like this, find out X and Y. Find out X and Y. See? If a question comes like this, X plus barium chloride will give you Y plus sodium chloride. Now let me ask you first of all, what type of a reaction is this? See, one thing I am telling you is that you will get only reactions from your textbook for the CBSE board exam. So please be thorough with all the equations there or all the reactions in the textbook. So by seeing this equation, you can have an idea that this equation is an example of a double displacement reaction, isn't it? Double displacement reaction. Now Now see, now we have to get X and Y. Now we are having barium chloride and sodium chloride. Now X must be what? X must be something of what? Something of sodium, isn't it? Something of sodium, because sodium chloride, isn't it? Sodium chloride. And what will be Y? Y must be something Ba and some anion. So it must be, you have studied Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate. So when sodium sulfate reacts with barium chloride, you will get sodium chloride and what is Y? Y is barium sulfate. See, this is how you are finding out this X and Y. Okay, no, if you ask me, you have to write sodium sulfate itself, no. You can have any other compound, but it should be an ionic one. Then only the reactants will form in ions, and the exchange of ions takes place between the reactants and getting the product. That is double displacement reaction, isn't it? And this is also an example of what? Precipitation reaction. A white precipitate of barium sulfate is formed. Okay, so leave the name of the reaction, but like this you have to find. This is Na. This can be Na2SO3 also. Okay, if Na2SO3 is there, you will get barium sulfite. Okay, so like that. Since you have studied this SO4, you can write SO4. That's all. Okay. Again, if you want another thing, it must be ion. That's all. Don't get confused. You study like this, whatever you are given in the textbook. That's all. Okay. But if you are right another also, it is no problem. If it is correct, then you will get marks. Okay. So this is how you have to calculate X. I mean, you have to find out the X and Y. Clear? Now we will go for the fourth question. Okay. Fourth question is, see, these type of problems, even though in this chapter numericals are not there, but still these types of questions comes as problem. Okay, that means you have written that, and once again I will read that. A substance X, which is an oxide of group 2 element. Okay, now you are not familiar with the group 2, but once you have studied the 5th chapter, that is the periodic element, you will know the group 2 elements. What are the group 2 elements? But if you don't know also, you can clear this problem. Okay, this is again another hint, that's all. So, an element X, which is an oxide of group 2 element, is used in cement industry. That is a hint. You have studied one compound where that compound is used in the manufacture of cement, industrial application. Just try to remember what is that compound which you studied, which is in the group 2, that you leave it. Forms a raw material for the cement. What is it? Are you remembering? Okay, wait. So that is the first hint, cement industry. Now then what they have said is, this element is also present in bones. See? Bones. Now I can very well write it as what? Bones present calcium, right? Calcium. So what will be the compound? We have studied calcium oxide, isn't it? Calcium oxide, or it is called as quicklime. Are you remembering it? Quicklime. Quicklime. What is quicklime? Quicklime is calcium oxide. Okay. Now they have given this element is also present in bones. Okay. Then we get the clue as it is calcium. Calcium is present. And on treatment with water. See, when calcium, next is they are telling, when this calcium oxide is treated with water. Okay. When it is treated with water, it forms a solution. What is the solution? You have studied this. Calcium oxide plus water, you will get calcium hydroxide, isn't it? This is called as lime water, isn't it? It is called as lime water. This is aqueous. This is an example of a combination reaction, isn't it? Calcium oxide plus water will give you calcium hydroxide plus heat energy. This is a highly exothermic reaction. Evolution of heat is formed. Okay. Then they are telling which solution turns red litmus to blue. Now listen, When will a solution turns red litmus to blue? When it is a base, isn't it? Basic solution converts red litmus to blue, and acidic solution blue litmus to red. So you just verify, is this a basic solution? Is it a basic solution? Yes. Why? Because metal hydroxides dissolves in water to form, metal oxides dissolves in water to form metal hydroxide, which are basic in nature. You have studied metallic oxides are basic in nature, whereas non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, isn't it? So this is basic. So since it is a base, it will convert the red litmus to blue. So you have got the equation. Now what you have given? Identify X and write the chemical equation involved. So what will be X? What is our X? X is calcium oxide. So this is how you solve this problem. Even though it is not a numerical, these type of problems, step problems will come in chemistry also. Okay, in all the chapters it can come. A substance X, a white substance X is heated, you will get the oxide of nitrogen vapors. What will be the, what is that X substance? It will be lead nitrate, isn't it? You have studied lead nitrate on decomposition. So like that problems can come. So in this, what is X? X is nothing but calcium oxide. Now the question is, you have got this answer. Now some of you don't know how to answer it or present it in an answer way. That is a problem. You know, or there you have, see, some have given the equation as correct. Calcium oxide plus water will give you calcium hydroxide. Your equation is correct. But then also you will lose marks, heat energy. Now then you were wondering, I wrote the equation because the question says write the chemical equation involved. I have written the equation, then why I am not getting the full mark? Full mark means they have asked you what is X. Now you have to specifically write X is equal to calcium oxide. Even though calcium oxide is here in this equation, it is not enough. The question demands you to write X. So you have to write separately here X is equal to. Okay, there also in the second question also you have to identify X and Y. So you have to write X is equal to and Y is equal to barium sulfate. See, this you have to write X and Y. If the question demands you write X and Y, you have to separately write X. Even though this calcium oxide is in this equation, they won't mind. You have to write separately. So that is how you lose so many little marks, which makes more marks. Okay. So that's why. So be careful in writing this or answering or presenting an answer is very, very important. How you present that answer, even though you know all the value points, isn't it? But the presentation of an answer is very, very important. How neatly you present or how you come for an answer, that is very important. Okay. So you just go through the question papers and revise it. Okay. Now comes the, so now it is clear how you go for like that numericals, the problems. Okay. Now comes the fifth question, that is, it is very easy. Identify the substance oxidized and reduced. Okay, so you just tell me Fe2O3 plus Al giving Al2O3 plus Fe. Just balance it, okay. I am not balancing it. Okay. Now, what is oxidized and what is reduced? You just tell me what is oxidized and what is reduced. We know oxygen is being taken away by aluminium, isn't it? So here what happens? Aluminium is oxidized, isn't it? Because its oxygen is added, so it is oxidized. Now, what happens to the iron? The oxygen, removal of oxygen, so that is reduction, isn't it? Reduction. Now, it's clear. Okay. Now you have to write, we will see what is the oxidizing agent and reducing agent in this equation, just for that clarity. Okay, now I will write what? Fe2O3 is reduced to, okay, reduced to Fe. Correct? Now it is reduced to, so what is this? This will be oxidizing agent. Is it clear now? Very much clear, isn't it? Okay. Now, in the other case, what you will write? Aluminium is oxidized. Listen. Aluminium is oxidized to Al2O3. Now, this is oxidized. So, what is aluminium? Aluminium is the reducing agent. See, this is how you find oxidizing agent and reducing agent, and also what is oxidized and what is reduced. So, is it clear? It's clear. Okay. Now, we will see the next question. Now, one more question is there, that is the PDO, that you just do as a homework. Okay, just a revision homework. You just see the next equation. Okay. Any doubt, just give me a call. I will get it clarified. Okay. Okay. Now comes the next question, that is classify the following reactions into different types. Okay. This is important. You have to get what type of reaction is this. Now the first reaction is, listen, AgNO3 plus NaCl. Okay. Both are aqua and aqua. Okay. Aqueous gives, you know, what is it? AgCl, okay, which must be a solid, and NaNO3. Now the question is, what type of reaction is this? Just seeing this reaction, you know, it is an ionic reaction, ions are there. Now, exchange of ions between the reactants to get products. What is that reaction? What type of reaction is that? It is a double displacement reaction. But the question is, here some children make mistakes. The question asks you what types of reaction. See, types. That means there may be one or more. So there you have to make very, very careful. So this is both. Since it is a precipitate and insoluble substance, here it is solid given. See, even though this is not given, if it is solid given, you have to write as this reaction is both a double decomposition as well as and precipitation reaction. Then only you will get marks. If you write either double decomposition or precipitation, you will get only half mark if 1 mark is there. So, this is the mark distribution. So, you make a point whether everything is okay. Everything you will get it correct. Okay, so you go through the mind. Okay, here each and every point you have to realize. This is aqueous, okay, there is solid. This is not given. This is solid. Or since it is solid, it is an insoluble precipitate. So this can be both. Clear? Now we will see the second reaction. Second reaction is, you know, what is it? Calcium oxide. Just now we have studied. Calcium oxide plus water will give you calcium hydroxide. What type of reaction? It is a combination reaction, because two reactants gets converted into a single product. Remember the definition? When two or more reactants converted to form a single product, it is called as a combination reaction. The reverse is what? When a single reactant breaks down or decomposes into more than one product, it is called as a decomposition reaction. Okay, just go through it. Okay. So this is a what? Combination reaction. Now next is the third one, KClO3, KCl plus O2. See, just balance it. Okay. Now what is this triangle means? This triangle means heat, isn't it? So this is a decomposition reaction. Now some children will write only decomposition reaction. They will lose half a mark there. Why? Because since it is given as heat, otherwise it will given as electricity. So it is electrolytic decomposition. Or if it is sunlight, HNU, photolytic. Now it is given as heat. So it is called as thermal decomposition. So don't make such mistakes. You have to write thermal decomposition, not simply decomposition. So these are the small things which you come across with difficulties, which you or lose marks when you write this exams. Okay. So just make it a point to know fully well what is there in the question. Okay. So see through the question very carefully. So this is the next question. So hope you have understood. If it is not triangle and electricity, then it is called as an electrolytic decomposition. Or if it is sunlight or HNU, both it can put. It is called as a photolytic decomposition. Okay. So just go through. So that is the sixth question. Okay. Now comes the next question, that is the seventh question. Okay. And this is also an important question. Okay. I think you are doing the first time. If somebody has not done it, just please listen carefully. Now consider the following reaction. See, A2O3 plus 2B gives B2O3 plus 2A. Listen carefully. This is a reaction where A is some element and B is some element. Only oxygen is the element known. So A2O3 plus 2B will give you B2O3 plus 2A. A and B are elements. Okay. A and B are some elements. We don't know. Okay. We are not interested also. Just equation. Now the second is CSO4. C also is another element. Okay. CSO4 plus 2B will give you B2SO4 thrice plus 3C. See? C is another element, B is an element, B is again element, C is a, only sulfate is there, we know. And again one more reaction, 3CO. CO means C is an element, not carbon monoxide. See, C is another element, it's oxide. Okay, plus 2A will give you A2O3 plus 3C. So listen very, very carefully. See, this is asked in 2014, I think, CBSE. I'm not remembering the correct year, but in some year it was asked. Okay, 2016 or 14, I don't know. So this is, then they are asked which element is more reactive and which element is less reactive out of A, B and C. So they are given three equations, that is A2O3 plus 2B giving B2O3 plus 2A. CSO4 plus 2B will give you B2SO4 thrice plus 3C, and CO plus 2A giving A2CO3 plus 3C. Now the question is, which element is most reactive and which element is less reactive? Now how will you go for this? You see, here all are displacement reactions. See, that is a metal is being displaced by some other metal. What is happening here? Here the B is displaced, listen carefully, the B is, see here the A is giving out, see, and which is displaced, A is displaced by B, isn't it? Now I told you, whenever a displacement reaction happens, the more reactive metal displaces the less reactive metal, isn't it? It's a funda. Now here, which is more reactive metal? B is more reactive metal. So that is why B is displaces this A. So B is reactive than A. Correct? Now what happens here? Here also CSO4. Again a aqueous solution, salt solution. Now what is B? BSO4. That is B is getting here. Which means the C is displaced by whom? B. Isn't it? B comes and sit here. And C knocked out. See? C is knocked out. And B is sitting here. That means C is removed by B or C is displaced by B. When will we say that B is more reactive than C? Isn't it? Given, so B is reactive. Then the last is C and A. Here what happens? A is here. O. So C is replaced by A. C is replaced by A. Isn't it? Okay, so A is again reactive because it can replace C. Okay. Now if you know this funda, you can say which is more reactive? B is the most reactive because it displaces A. Isn't it? And A displaces C. So B is most reactive, then comes A because A is displacing C. Isn't it? So then comes A. And the least reactive is C because C is not displacing any metal because here there is no C, right? Here there is no C. If there is C, it can displace. Here there is no C because A is displacing C. So the answer will be what? The most reactive is B and the least reactive is C. You got it? Any doubt? Just call me. Now the next question, which is what type of reaction is involved in this? What type of reaction? This is a displacement reaction, isn't it? this is displacement takes place. Okay. So these type of questions can come for the board exam. Okay. So just go through it, and if there is any doubt how it comes, any doubt, just give me a call. Okay. Okay. Now comes again the last question, that is complete the missing element x, y and z. These type of questions always comes. What is x, y and z? Okay. That is, first is BaCl2 plus X gives BaSO4. Only this much is given. They are only asked to find out what is X, what type of reaction, no. Which type of reaction they are not asking. Only X. So, if it is X, it must be some SO4 because BaSO4. So, this must be some, X must be some SO4, some sulfate. So, you can have it what? Na2SO4. See? Then NaCl. Don't go for it or don't write this. They have asked you what is X, what can be X. Since it is barium sulfate is here, you can put any sulfate, ionizable sulfate you can put because it is a double decomposition reaction and a precipitation reaction. So what is X? X is a Na2SO4. Got it? So now you know, you have the hand, isn't it? Now the second is Cu plus AgNO3 gives CuNO3 twice plus Y. This is a displacement reaction. That is copper. Ag is displaced by copper. Why? Because Ag is below this copper. So copper can displace Ag. Now what will be the copper nitrate plus what is Y? Y is Ag. Isn't it? This is simple. Y is Ag. Now the last is calcium carbonate. On arrow it is putting as Z. Okay. Will form calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. See, these type of questions also can come. Now what is above in this arrow? That is Z. What is, find X, Y and Z. So what is this Z? You know, thermal decomposition. That is calcium carbonate. Either you write heat or you write like a triangle. So Z is nothing but a triangle. Okay. But if you want a full mark for this question, you have to write X is equal to Na2SO4. Then Y is equal to Ag and Z is equal to heat. Then only you will get the full mark. You have to specify it. So that's all. Hope you have clear. Now any doubt in the first, I will be taking the next acid bases also like one revision and metals and non-metals. But any clarification needed for this first chapter, just give me a call. Then I will clear for it. Okay. So till then, keep studying. Thank you.